Okay, so our first card of the day is Whims of Chaos. Whims of Chaos is a 5 play point gold runecraft spell. It says give both leaders the following effect. At the start of your turn, change the cost of all cards in your hand to X. X equals a random number between 1 and 10. This effect is not stackable and lasts for the rest of the match. So if you guys have ever played Slay the Spire, this is basically Snekoi for both players, which is super hype. Now, there's two ways to look at this card. The first one is that, like, hey, is this like a, is this a good Shadowverse card? And my initial assumption is no, this is not a good card. You spend 5 play points, getting no board impact whatsoever, and then the rest of the match will be decided on pure clownery RNG shenanigans. So competitively, maybe not particularly great, but the other side of the card is that this is a super cool, super fun card, and as a content creator, a handsome one at that, I cannot wait to use this card. So, kind of like a Roost for Rune, except it affects both opponents. So you can get some crazy discounts, some bricks, a little bit of everything, right? So this, to me, seems like a fun Shadowverse card. And while I don't think that every single card should be like this, it's probably better than cards that are, playable and good. I don't mind if every once in a while we have a card that is like this, just completely wild, complete chaos, because this will make for some fun Shadowverse games. And believe it or not, sometimes Shadowverse just needs a little bit more fun. Okay, our next card is Ceres, Bride of the Night. Ceres has returned yet again as the Shadowcraft legendary 3 play point, 1/4 stat line. Ceres has Bane, and last words deal 1 damage to a random enemy follower. So a pretty basic follower so far. 1/4 Bane. Early game could like trade with something, survive, trade with something else, and then last words do 1 damage somewhere, which could be relevant. The fact that she has last words is good, and hey, the Bane is okay. But let's be real, if that was all that Ceres was, then you would not be playing her. So in Evo, she gets the full stats, +2/+2. Has an effect that says, put a Darkest Desire into your hand, and then her last words get upgraded from DL1 to DL3. Now at this point, she's already a much stronger card, as a 3/6 stat line can definitely trade against something, survive to answer another follower, and then the last words deal 3 damage can then answer another follower. Like, that already pretty sick, right? On top of that, you're getting the Darkest Desire in your hand when you evil her. And what the hell is a Darkest Desire? Let's read. Darkest Desire is a 1 playpoint spell that says, select 2 Shadowcraft nerds in your hand. Give the first follower last words deal X damage to enemy leader, X equals this follower's attack. And the second last words restore X defense to your leader, X equals this follower's defense before being destroyed. So, for 3 play points and an Evo, you get a 3/6 Bane with last words deal damage and a spell. The spell costs 1, and the first Evo's on 4 play points. So on turn 4 you can play her and play a spell right away. And then with a spell, you buff 2 followers in your hand, and you'll let them do more damage to your opponent and get more life to you. All of those things which are very relevant and very, very good, right? Now, deal X damage could be comboed with some shenanigans, because the more attack that a follower has, the more damage it's doing. It like scales that way, which is very powerful. And heal is good, right? Why wouldn't heal be great? I'm sure there will be some shenanigans with the this card for sure. Its potential is pretty powerful, right? Darkest Desire gonna be GP's Leaves, Runeblade, Lovers OTK, something like that. So overall, I think Ceres is pretty strong. Like, decent as a 3-drop, pretty good as an evil follower, and a very, very strong spell that can scale really well into the late game, right? I think Ceres isn't overrated as a waifu. I agree with you on that, Sky. I'm not a fan of zombies. She's pretty whatever in that regard. But she's a cool card and a pretty strong one at that, it seems like. Our next card is Aluzard, the Time-Worn Vampire. Time-traveling Jobber. Bloodcraft 2 playpoint 2/2 legendary. When this guy comes into play, if it's the third time he came into play, put a Blood Earth into your hand. Last words, give your lethal effect. At the start of your turn, after your next turn, summon this guy. So he's kind of like a 2 playpoint Mordecai, except his respawn is very delayed. He doesn't die and then come back automatically. He dies and then comes back at the start of your next turn after, which is actually so slow if you think about it. That means that, let's say you played on turn 2, going first, and then you trade against their 2-drop. So on turn 4, at the start of the turn, you get a 2/2. But because they get summoned at the start of the turn, he can't even swing that turn. That seems pretty ass. Like, compare that to a 2/2 that spawns a 2/2. Meaning you could trade, instantly get a body to Evo. Or it's a 2/2, your opponent clears it, then it spawns a 2/2, and then it's your turn, you can attack. This is like way, and I mean way slower than that. But if he comes back enough, or you play multiples or whatever, you eventually get the Blood Art, and Blood Art says 1 playpoint, give ward to an allied Blood Card follower, which is not fantastic. But if that dude is Aluzard, which I guess if you get this, that means that you have Aluzard, right? So he gets evoed and then deals 1 damage to all enemy followers. So eventually you get a 1 playpoint 4/4 ward that deals 1 damage AoE, and that's not bad. The question is, what is the support for this? Because if this is it, then I think he's bad. But if there's ways to like play this, bounce it, replayer, play multiples or whatever, then this could be pretty good. If every other turn you get a 4/4 ward, free evo, rush follower to deal 1, like that could be okay. But until we see the rest of the time travel blood cards, I'm just not sold on the idea just yet. Okay, our next card is Planetary Fracture, a neutral legendary spell. 2 playpoints, says destroy all followers that cost 5 playpoints or more, and if it's your 10th turn or later, destroy all enemy followers instead. This card is interesting. I'm not sure what to make of this. I feel like this is, how do I say this? My thoughts are like, this is a disgustingly overrated card. Like, people are making this card to be so overrated. It's really not that good. And yet at the same time, I don't think it's a bad card. If that can make sense. Like, it's not the greatest card ever, but it's not bad either. This probably is very meta dependent. What I will say is that the people that are like, wow, you can never make a board in Shadowverse, like, bro, all the boards you make, because it's the followers that cost 5 or less, let's be real. Just saying. And like, sure, turn 10, it is insane. It definitely is a good card on turn 10. But on turn 10, Shadowverse is crazy. Games are over left and right? So, you know, it is what it is. Would you play this? Just use it as removal in the mid to late game? Sure, it doesn't seem bad, right? Okay, now here's a Shadowverse card. Okay, I'm not gonna say this properly, chat, let's be real. There's no way I could say this correctly first try. So why? Go ahead and correct me in the chat or in the YouTube comments. Okay, we got Westmuenster Abbey. It's a Havencraft 5 playpoint amulet. It says accelerate 1, summon a flame rat, and then countdown 2. On fanfare you get not 1 but 2 bladed hedgehogs, which are pretty cool followers. And then if you have more evil points on your opponent, you give +1 and Bane to all allied followers. Then at the end of your opponent's turn, you summon a Saintly Squeaks. So a lot of mouse in 1 card. So for 5 play points, if you're going second, really becomes a 3 play point, summon 2 hedgehogs. No, it's still 5. Summon 2 hedgehogs, but they get Bane. And then for 2 turns, you get a 2/2 storm basically. While also doubling down as an accelerate in case it's clunky and you summon a flame rat. All of that sounds pretty juicy. Now, without seeing the rest of the cards, I'm not sure exactly how this is supposed to like carry a Haven deck. But with the right support, Rodent Haven could be the next big thing, chat. And for the record, I do love the Hedgehog, so I automatically like this card. It is a Haven Amulet and maybe a good one at that. But we need to see the rest of its support in Archetype, I guess. Okay, our next card is Roy, our boy, the Dragon Reaver. A Dragoncraft 5 playpoint 5/5 fanfare cast Dragon Oracle, which is pretty cool. But hey chat, if that wasn't good enough, he has Enhanced 8. If any other allied cards are in play, destroy one, gain Storm, and deal 3 damage to all enemies. Okay, so a 5/5/5 ramp is already a good Shadowverse card. Then an 8 play point, kill something, deal 3 damage to the board and the face, and then be 5/5 Storm is pretty busted as well. Not counting any synergies that there might be of you killing your own dudes, like say Rasia. Yeah, this seems pretty good. Good body, good fanfare, good enhance. Like enhance 8 deal 8 damage is pretty good. Can get through small wards as well. You can even evo it, so it becomes 10 damage. Yeah, it seems good. You can kill your own amulets. Do any ramp card rotates? Sounds like you should watch my video on cards that are rotating out, sir. How much board clear does a class need? That's a good comment. I don't know, this guy seems pretty good to me. Okay, here's a funny one. Magna Zero, Portalcraft Machina Legendary, 7 playpoint 5/5, fanfare. Deal 3 damage to all enemies, including the face. If Resonance, whatever that is, has been activated for you at least 10 times, deal 10 damage instead. 10 damage to the board and the face, potentially game winning. If it has been activated for you 20 times, deal 20 damage instead. Okay, 20 damage to the board and to the face actually does just win the game on the spot. So basically, Resonance is going from being a joke, I guess, to potentially a win condition. Again, we don't know the support, and I don't know if there's cards that are meant to trigger Resonance in and out faster than we currently can. Because I can't imagine you currently get to 20 anytime soon. Not before in turn, 40 or some shit, right? But this guy seems good. They gave him 3 levels of scaling, and they're all good, right? Like 3 damage might be good enough. 10 damage is insane, and 20 just wins the game on the spot, right? I like this card, and this is without seeing any of the other Resonance or Bronze and Silver cards, but I do like this. It's not specific to like artifacts. Maybe artifact can trigger Resonance, they can play him. If they can't, we don't. Play him in other portal decks. This is great. I definitely like this card a lot. That's some nice art too, and I don't even like mechs. I'm a fan of Magna Zero. I'm a big fan, chat. Our next card is the Nelcha Fashion Hazard. Come back as a dark and edgy artist, I guess. Forcecraft Gold, 3 playpoint 2/2. Says fanfare, recover 2 play points. Enhance 5, recover 4 play points. And then put 2 Nelchas into your hand. Give them the following effect. At the end of your turn, discard this card. So, in turn 3, you play this. And you can still play a 2-drop after. Then on 5, you can play this and then have 4 plays left over. You can play more of these. I think it's just meant to activate the cards played mechanic, which if they want to support this, this could be cool. I like the design behind this card. It seems interesting. It seems fun. It seems like you have to use your brain. And it's a forest card, and I like all of those things. Plus, hey, it's got nice Shadowverse art. Can't go wrong with some nice, solid Shadowverse art. So I do like this card. Although, I'm not sure what forest is supposed to be doing, but I like the idea behind this card. It's cool. Our next card is Sera, Maiden of the Dawn. Paladin came back and got a name, apparently. It's a commander, 3 playpoint 3/2, has ward. Whenever an allied officer comes into play, give it the following effect. Can't be targeted by any effects, and then restore 1 to your leader. So you get some heal and some protection for your nerds. Then on Evo, she gets full Evo stats for some reason. And also has Evo gain, summon 3 Shield Guardians. So basically, you get a 3 playpoint 3/2 with ward. On Evo, you get a 3 playpoint 5/4 with ward that summons 3 1/1s with ward, which can be targeted. And you get 3 life to your leader. And if she survives, this effect is going to remain to any other officers you might play. So 1 card, rally 4, 3 wards, 3 life, good effect, full Evo stats. Seems good. Seems like a good Shadowverse card, chat. Sometimes you just gotta do a billion things to be a decent Shadowverse card. And yet, this is Swordcraft. I've seen Sword get crazier cards and still be ass, so we'll have to wait and see. But I do like it. I don't dislike it. It does get cleared by those very many deal 3 damage to all followers type of effects.